What started as a fun game night full of puzzles, some wine, and an odd game of hide and seek suddenly turned deadly when, for whatever reason, Jorge Torres Jr., perhaps and most likely with the help of his girlfriend Sarah Boone, climbed into a suitcase that she then zipped him up inside of. After allegedly waking up drunk, Sarah woke up to find Jorge still inside the suitcase, but by then, tragically, he would have passed away. But that's the story as Sarah tells it. So, what do we really know about what happened that night? Today, we are going to unpack all of it, including these strange letters that Sarah has sent to the judge multiple times. So get ready, this might be a long one. So, everyone, let's sit back, relax, and take a deep breath because it's time to let the fresh air in. Hello, everyone. Welcome back, or welcome if you're new. My name is Erin, and I am fascinated by all things cults, true crime, and unique spiritual practices, and really just human behavior in general. And when I tell you that Sarah Boone is a really fascinating and disturbing case study, I mean it. I mean, this woman is on another level of manipulation. I'm not diagnosing her, but other people have said she shows signs of narcissism. She also shows signs of histrionic personality disorder. Again, that's just what I've seen other people say online. I am not personally saying it. I went on a 12-hour one-way road trip for the 4th of July, and I listened to everything I could find about Sarah Boone. Her interrogation, the body cam footage. I listened to Lawyer You Know's analysis of the judge's recent ruling and all of her letters. So we're going to break it all down here and I'm going to share my thoughts. There will be a lot of my opinion in this video, a lot of speculation. So please do your own research before you just blindly believe anything I say. Okay, I don't want anything I say to get misunderstood or misconstrued. Before we jump in, I want to share our teacher wish list of the day. I'm going to share this Amazon wish list in the pinned comment down below, and if you are able to, please provide one of the items on the list for the teacher. Quick note, because I've gotten some feedback on this. You have to select the address for the anonymous participant. Their address won't show up publicly for you, but if it's, say, like Kathy's wish list, when it comes up to say, where do you want to send this, you have to like scroll down past all of your saved addresses and click specifically, oh, I want to send it to her for this wish list, just to clear that up because I had someone email me kind of panicked. Don't worry, our wonderful teachers will get their items. So, this person sent in an Amazon wish list on behalf of someone else, which I think is so, so kind. So, Ariel says, first of all, I want to say I love you and your content. Thank you. That is so sweet. And it's really nice to hear. I appreciate that. I think what you're doing for these teachers is amazing. I'd like to nominate my daughter's preschool educator, Rebecca. She is such a lovely educator to the little kiddos who are a blessing to be in her class. She goes above and beyond to teach them all about life, from learning about nature, growing their own flowers and composts, watching the life cycle of a butterfly in real time. I love that. Letting them try local flora that are edible, teaching them about yoga and taking care of our body and minds, to celebrating all of the different holidays all around the world, teaching all about being inclusive and showing kindness to everyone. She constantly enriches and grows their little minds and sensory needs. I couldn't choose a better teacher if I tried. She goes 110% for our kids, and I think she deserves a little love back. I'm attaching her wish list below, and she has said thanks 100 times. Oh my gosh, that's so sweet. So, again, you will find Rebecca's list down in the pinned comment down below. Remember to click on sending it to her address, okay? And happy shopping. Thank you so much for nominating this teacher. So, with all of that being said, let's jump right into today's case. This case brings us back to February 25th of 2020. Now, Sarah and her boyfriend Jorge had a really rocky, and some would describe their relationship as toxic even. They were constantly in domestic disputes, and they seemed to physically attack each other, although there were more filings against Jorge than Sarah herself. Jorge had been sent to jail about 4 times for physically harming Sarah, and conversely, Sarah had also been sent to jail 1 time because of the harm that she had done to him. He was actually on probation for the crimes that he had committed previously. Even his parents say that although he wasn't a perfect person, they say that he really, really did show them a lot of love. And they are really, really heartbroken for this loss. I think something that's really heartbreaking about this case is because of Sarah's odd behavior, the case has gotten very, very sensationalized, and people aren't talking about Jorge as much. It's really difficult to get a lot of information about the victim, but I did watch an interview that his mother did, and she said that he always said that he loved her. And she's the one that actually said, he's not a perfect person, but he was doing his best. And allegedly, his family did not approve of Sarah at all, not one bit. I believe it was his brother who even said that if he saw Jorge and Sarah walking down the street, he would literally turn and walk the other way because he could not stand Sarah at all. Now, a lot of people have been wondering, why were these two people together? Why didn't Sarah leave? There was no reason that this had to escalate to murder. And I would say I agree. But I also want to take this opportunity to point out that being in a DV situation is incredibly risky, dangerous, and challenging to get out of. Statistically, people don't fully get out of a DV relationship until the seventh or eighth time they've tried. This could be because there is an emotional manipulation at play, a feeling of being trapped. Maybe they're playing into the sunk cost fallacy. I've spent so much time in this relationship. I need to continue working on it. Otherwise, the last however many years have been a waste of time. And there could potentially be financial implications. We see this a lot of time when one partner is kind of controlling the finances and the partner that's being has no means to really escape the situation because they have no money to go anywhere else. I don't know the exact situation that Sarah and Jorge were in, but I do know that Jorge was trying to get a job. And Jorge's not just survived by his parents, he's also survived by his children. According to his obituary, he had 2 daughters and a son. And I believe that Sarah also has a son with her previous husband. So, what happened the night of February 25th, 2020? Although they had recently had a domestic dispute prior, they had been good for a couple of days, maybe even a couple of weeks. Even Sarah says that they were having a fantastic day. Although, once we get into some of the footage of Sarah, you might realize that she's not necessarily a reliable narrator. According to Sarah, they were having a great date night. They had played some puzzles, they were hanging out, they were sipping on some Chardonnay, but not too much. And then they decided to play hide and seek, which I can kind of see. A lot of people have been like, what 40-year-olds play hide and seek? But if you're a little toasted and you're just having a good time and you're feeling kind of silly, maybe you do decide to play hide and go seek. So they decided to play this silly little game of adult hide and seek. Whatever you got to do to spice up your relationship. And if they're having a good time, they're having a good time. I feel like that's important to say if there had been a history of DV. So they're playing hide and seek. Allegedly, Sarah went to hide in the bathroom shower, but Jorge could not find her, and then it was his turn to hide. So, for whatever reason, and we don't know really who suggested it, but Jorge gets into this suitcase. Perhaps Sarah helped him, but she definitely had to have zipped him up into that suitcase. A lot of people have been speculating about this moment. Did Sarah force him into the suitcase? Was this insidious? Was there an intention to get him locked up in there? And honestly, we will never know. My speculation is they're living in an apartment. It's a small place. There's not a lot of great places to hide. They're both drunk. They're probably giggly. And maybe they see this suitcase and they're like, oh my gosh, isn't this so funny? I bet you can't fit in that suitcase. And he's like, I bet I can. Oh, it's going to be so funny if you can. I've done that before, even as an adult. Like, I'm so small. Let me fit into this little space. It's really stupid and juvenile, but I can't say I haven't done it before. So maybe they're giggling, having a good time, and he tries to fold himself up into this suitcase. Maybe Sarah even helps his arm get in a certain position to try to tuck him totally into the suitcase. But suffice it to say, the suitcase was a larger suitcase that you would check if you were traveling on an airplane. It would definitely be a checked bag. And then he is said to have been a smaller man. So he was able to fit into this suitcase with it totally zipped up. Now, according to Sarah, she thought this was hilarious and she had zipped it up so that he could fit two fingers outside of it. So she thought that if he wanted to get out, he would just be able to get himself out, like easy peasy, no big deal. But videos that were later uncovered on her phone would tell a much different story. Now, this video is very unsettling, it's very disturbing, and it's really heartbreaking to listen to someone basically beg for his life. So please use discretion when watching, or feel free to fast forward through this next clip.
Sarah. Sarah, I can't breathe, babe.
That's on you. For everything you've done to me.
Sarah.
For everything you've done to me.
Sarah. Sarah.
You.
Sarah.
Stupid.
Sarah.
That's my name. Don't wear it out.
Sarah. I can't fucking breathe, babe. Seriously.
Yeah, that's when you do when you choke me.
Sarah. Sarah.
It's really heartbreaking to hear that video. It's heartbreaking to hear Sarah taunt him, and it's very clear that she sounds incredibly, incredibly intoxicated. But Sarah would continue to maintain, as she was getting interrogated by police, that he could have gotten out. According to her story, he could have gotten out, and she decided that she was going to stumble to bed and go to sleep. And when she woke up in the morning, she was horrified to find out that he had actually passed away in the suitcase. But we all just saw that video, and we know it paints a darker picture. Now, later, Sarah would be charged with second-degree murder, which, to my understanding, basically means that she caused someone's death without necessarily intending for them to die, but she also didn't do anything to prevent the death from happening, as opposed to first-degree murder, where she sought out to make sure this person died. She planned it, it was premeditated. Her degree is one step down to second-degree murder. However, people were alleging later that she had actually put someone in a suitcase before. Apparently, she was playing with her son and got him to get into a suitcase because she thought it was funny, but that is also speculation and word of mouth. So, right now, let's just assume that what Sarah is saying is correct. How did this escalate? How did this happen? Her story is they were playing around. He got in the suitcase. She thought he could get out. Ha ha ha. Oh no, she wakes up and she finds out that he's dead. But when we see the video, we recognize no, she sounds like she is intending harm on him. My question is, after listening to a lot of theories and a lot of speculation, is maybe it did start as fun and playful. And then when he started begging for help, that's when maybe Sarah's demeanor switched and she realized that she had power in the situation. Maybe she realized that she had power that she hadn't previously felt before. Because remember, he'd gone to jail 4 times previously because he had caused physical harm to her. And she had also gone to jail once for doing physical harm to him. So maybe she was feeling like this was her opportunity to get back at him at some point. I can't help but wonder if in this moment when she's taunting him, if she's at all fearful of what might happen if she did let him out. Maybe she was fearful that if she let him out after cackling and laughing at him, what if he just became really, really enraged and started harming her? Is there an element of fear to her? Because one of her lawyers did want to use the battered spouse defense, which basically means that a partner had to go to such a drastic measure to defend themselves that their partner ends up dead. Now, whether that would stand in court in regard to this case, most lawyers have said it's probably not a viable defense. But I'm curious to know, what do you think? Do you think there could have been a moment where Sarah was looking at that suitcase and thinking, oh no, if he gets out, he might come for me because in this moment, I have more power than him. I won't let him out of the suitcase because allegedly she had flipped the suitcase over so that the piece that would have flapped up easily if he had moved the zipper with his 2 fingers, he now had his own body weight on that piece. Plus, he is drunk, he is intoxicated, he probably doesn't know up from down, left from right. Also, later we would find out that neighbors heard what they claim sounded like something falling down the stairs. So now it is also alleged that Sarah actually pushed the suitcase down the stairs while Jorge was still in the suitcase. And this could have also been a contributing factor to his death. His death was ruled as positional asphyxiation, which basically means that he was in such a claustrophobic physical condition for so long that he was unable to continue breathing. But he also had other injuries that led authorities to believe that Sarah had harmed him in some way. His injuries that were discovered on him seemed to fit the idea that perhaps she had thrown the suitcase down the stairs or at least pushed it down the stairs once he was in it. Another red flag that was raised by authorities was the fact that Sarah woke up and basically hung out in her bed for a while without Jorge in it. So they ask, if you were drunk all night and you were having a good time and you wake up and your partner is no longer sitting next to you, why wouldn't the first thing you do is to go look for him? So by the time she goes and looks for him the following morning, she finds him in the suitcase and allegedly opens the suitcase and gets him out of there. She unfolds his body. So she is disrupting the crime scene at that point. Then, instead of calling 911, she calls her ex husband to come over and help her. And then he directed her to call 911. And what a lot of netizens are complaining about in this phone call is that Sarah sounds very, very annoyed at the dispatcher. The dispatcher is calmly trying to help her, and she is getting more and more frustrated.
Okay, 4748 France, correct?
Correct.
All right, correct. Now tell me exactly what happened there. My boyfriend and I were playing last night, and I put him in his case and we were playing, and like kind of hide and seek kind of thing. So I fell asleep, and I woke up, and he was dead in the suitcase. So I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened.
Right. Okay. What's your apartment number?
3.
Apartment 3.
Yes, like he has like blood coming out of his mouth, and I don't know if like he had like an aneurysm or what happened.
Right. Okay. All right. Okay. Listen, we're getting help out there too. All right. Okay. Okay.
Right now?
Okay. Yeah, man. Listen, we're on our way out there. You're at 407-716-8684. Okay. Is he hanging from somewhere or what, ma'am?
No, I pulled him out of the suitcase. I tried giving him CPR.
Okay. So he was in a suitcase?
Yes, and I fell asleep.
Okay. How old is the boyfriend, ma'am? 42-year-old male. All right. Okay. We're sending help out there. Sheriff's Office on the way out there?
Yes,
I'm sorry?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Listen to me. Okay. I just need to confirm this one. All right. I understand. I just need to confirm this. Is he awake at all? Is he conscious at all?
No. He's purple.
Is he breathing?
No.
All right. I need you to get him on the floor, flat on his back for me, okay?
I did. I tried giving him CPR.
All right.
I tried giving him CPR.
Yeah, okay.
But nothing happened. He's purple.
Okay, listen to me. There's a defibrillator available. I need you to get it for me, okay?
What is it?
You have an AED available?
No.
All right. You're right by him now.
I'm sorry?
Are you right by him now?
Yes.
Okay. Lay him flat on his... Okay, ma'am, listen. Listen, is he cold and stiff?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, he's not necessarily cold, but he's stiff. And he's purple.
Okay. All right, listen to me. Listen to me. I want you to lay him flat on his back for me on the floor.
I did.
Removing the pillows. Okay.
Yes, I did.
All right. Okay.
He's stiff and purple.
Right. Okay. Listen. Okay, man. That's fine. We're still going to do compressions on him. Okay. All right. Place the heel of your hand on his breastbone, right in the center of the chest, right between the nipples.
Yes.
Put your other hand on top of that hand.
Baby, I'm telling you. Just by looking at him, you can tell.
Okay.
Please. Okay, he just gurgled.
Okay. Listen to me. All right. I want you to place the heel of your hand. Okay, right between his chest, right between his breastbones.
Yes.
Put your other hand on top of that hand.
Yes.
We want to pump his chest to me hard and fast, going to this twice per second.
I'm doing it again.
Okay, no, just keep on pumping. That's all you need to do for me. Keep on pumping his chest for me. I don't need you to stop and talk or anything. I just want you to count out loud for me, okay?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. This is nothing.
Okay, ma'am, just keep on pumping his chest. That's all you need to do for me, okay?
Yes. Come on, please. Hurry up.
Okay, ma'am, they're driving here as fast as they can. Okay, don't stop to say hurry up. Just keep on pumping and counting.
I'm still doing it while I'm talking to you, okay?
Okay.
Still doing it.
All right, just continue pumping his chest. Count on us, I can count with you.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Please hurry.
Okay, ma'am, they're getting here as fast as they can, okay?
He's stiff and he's purple.
Okay. Keep pumping his chest for me, ma'am.
I'm still doing it, okay? Still doing it. Just don't make me count.
Right, okay, that's fine. You do a good job. Just keep on doing it for me. That's all right. They're getting there as fast as they can, along with the sheriff's office also, okay?
Please.
Okay. Keep on pumping, ma'am. 1,
We were playing
2, 3.
People have also said that it doesn't sound like she was actually doing any CPR, because if you really were doing CPR, wouldn't you get a little flustered? Wouldn't you lose your breath? She just doesn't sound as grief-stricken and panic-stricken and exhausted from trying to save her boyfriend's life. It actually sounds like she's just annoyed at the situation that she's in. And this theme kind of flows through not just the body cam footage of when the police first arrive, but also in her interrogation. She seems to be only really thinking about Sarah, and her story changes. And she basically admits to putting him in the suitcase.
And so you had to flip it to there. Then there's another video where it's on his back again, so you had to flip it to
I'm
there.
leaving it like this, please. I'm leaving it like this. I did not intentionally do this. No malicious content or effort was towards this. No malicious.
I would
I'm
say
pointing
does
at the
that
video.
help you sleep, but you're not sleeping, so.
I mean,
Last night, I
The-
maybe got an hour.
Right.
in your voice, you can hear the maliciousness. The fuck you is very, very...
You don't talk to people
Obvious.
like that. That's not like a common, like,
Nope.
hey, Scott, fuck you.
Thank you.
That's not common. It's not something people do. And no one that sees that is going to think that.
Okay.
So we were trying to give you an opportunity, and it is what it is.
There's no maliciousness towards
Okay.
that.
I would probably be telling myself that too after that video.
My intent was not for that to happen.
But you went upstairs and went to bed. Or maybe you passed out, I don't know. Whichever.
Waiting for him. And the whole time frame thing, it's like, it's
Regardless.
that's not really fair.
Regardless, waiting for him, it's not like you walked up the stairs. You can't fly up the stairs. No one can take you up the stairs.
Okay.
You go up the stairs, you lay in the bed, and you wait for him. Who cares if it's 5 minutes? Who cares if it's 30 frickin' seconds? He's begging for his life. He's begging to get out. You go upstairs.
You leave him.
It doesn't matter. So get the time frame out of your mind. It
This
doesn't
whole
matter.
thing, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because there's this, so it doesn't matter anything what it is I say. So it makes no difference whatsoever.
It's just you're lying and like you're now changing
Who's
your story.
lying about what?
You're now you were drunk.
Oh, I never said that I was drunk.
Exactly, but you did here today. That's okay.
You said earlier.
Everything recorded.
Alcohol.
You blamed it on the alcohol.
You blamed it on the alcohol. Alcohol does a lot to people.
Yes, but I never said I was drunk.
Okay.
You did.
So you did this sober. You knowingly left him down there sober.
I have already told both of you also that we were both drinking.
Right.
Okay.
But you want to admit that you were drunk? Is that?
I'm telling you all both. This has changed my life. I will take this. I don't know.
Yeah. That's a true statement.
Absolutely. But you're trying to dance around the fact that you
But what
did
are you?
leave
Okay,
him there.
just.
You left him in there. You did trying to
Oh my
dance around the
gosh,
fact you left him in there.
This is not.
You didn't leave him in there?
It's not cool. Like, this is not cool.
It's not cool.
That it's.
He's dead. It's
But
not
you
cool.
think that I did that intentionally. You think that I did that intentionally.
You intentionally left him in there and left the room. You went upstairs to a different room.
You intentionally did that.
You did.
Yes.
Because I'm thinking he's going to get out.
Okay, and he didn't.
Obviously not.
When somebody's begging, saying, I
But
can't
when you
breathe.
say that, though, but you have to, y'all
Please
don't,
let me out. I can't
y'all
breathe.
don't know George, though. Like, again, I thought it was the boy crying wolf. So it's just like, what?
Oh, so if your son was in there and said, I can't breathe, are you going to open it, or is he 9, so he's not,
Really?
It's not a big
Boy
deal.
calling
I'm just valid
Really?
question.
Well, you
Right.
said you would never put your son in a suitcase. You would only put George in there.
No, George got in a suitcase.
And you
Well.
zipped it up.
Not all the way and not intentionally to leave him there.
But that's what happened. But you keep going away from it.
I don't know.
That's exactly what happened. You went up to bed, woke up the next
Are
day.
you all trying to have me admit that? Like, are you trying to have me admit that? Because I will never admit it because it's not true. It's not true.
I'm basically stating as a fact because that's what happened.
Okay.
You videotaped him asking to be let out. You go upstairs.
So what, guys? So what? Like, just, I don't know what you want me to say other than it was not out of maliciousness or intentional.
I don't know what or how I can say it. I love George. Love him. To this day, still. Love him.
Love makes you do crazy things.
It's not one of those things where it's like, oh gosh, you know what? I've done enough for you at this point. I never gave up on him.
Okay.
Why I'm here today, I'm still not giving up on him. I would do anything for him.
Well, you gave up checking up on him. So.
Wouldn't let him out of a suitcase.
Oh gosh. Okay.
We're simply just trying to go through. I mean, again, you gave us a completely different story that you churched up to. This was such a lasting matter.
It was fun.
Not by that
all
video.
Day. All
Not
day.
by that video. That
all
part
day.
wasn't. Anybody looking at it doesn't. I don't think anybody would look at that video and go, George is having fun right now.
So why is it you all think that y'all don't know me, you don't know me.
Nope.
Would do something like that, especially having a 9-year-old son.
I don't know.
Like,
what
why?
having a 9-year-old son would be.
Like,
Why are you so like caught on what we think?
Yeah.
When
because
you should be more
like
concerned about what you've told us.
It's because
and
like you guys are like trying
the things that the video shows that are opposite of what you told us, and then what you've now
like
told
what
us
is opposite?
Well, you said that it was funny, and you're the only one laughing.
We were playing before that.
Okay.
But then it stops.
Yeah.
It obviously stops being fun.
Well,
because you're screaming at him, he's begging to get
screaming
out.
at him.
Sounds like screaming to me.
I don't know what you all want me to tell you.
There's literally no real indication in her full 3-hour interrogation that she is either guilt-ridden, grief-stricken, none of that. Like, put yourself in her situation for a minute. We've all, I'm sure, or maybe just me, but we've all had those nights that we forget details of, where you wake up, you know that maybe you don't remember everything clearly from the night before, and you just desperately want to talk to the person who maybe you fought with the night before. You want to apologize. For me, I get severe anxiety, which is why I don't really drink that much. Even if I have like 2 drinks, I'm like the next day just a mess, worried that I ruined all of my friendships. So I cannot fathom getting drunk, because let's just say she got blackout drunk and forgot that he was in the suitcase, or like what she says, she thought he could get out, and she just falls asleep, passes out, wakes up, is hungover, the room is spinning, she doesn't get out of bed for like an hour, and then when she goes downstairs, she sees this suitcase and it all comes back to her, and she's just like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, is he okay? And then finds him dead. If this happened to the person that I love, and all I could remember from the night before was we were having a good time, and then we weren't, and then I just went to bed, and this is what I woke up to, I would be utterly devastated. I would definitely have a different demeanor than Sarah, where she's basically defending herself. She wants someone to get her Diet Coke from inside. She's really just focused on Sarah, not the fact that her boyfriend is now dead. The person that she claims that she loves is dead. I would be mortified. I don't know if you could peel me off the floor. It's one thing for the person you love to pass away, but it is a completely other situation if you know you accidentally had a hand in it. It seems like Sarah was just fixated on defending herself, making herself look innocent. She didn't intend to do it. She is a great student. She knows how to get herself out of every situation but this one. Of course she wouldn't murder her boyfriend because she's so smart. Like, none of this makes any sense. And what's really, really fascinating about her interrogation is she brings up her phone and she's trying to make Jorge look bad. She says, I have documentation on my phone. You can look at it, because I think she's now realizing, oh, I'm in deep water. I need to find a reasoning for them to believe that I'm innocent, that I was the one that was actually in danger. But then instead of them saying, oh yeah, we looked at all those pictures, they say, well, we want to show you a video. And it seems to me in the interrogation that she forgot that she had taken that video. I believe that Sarah was so blackout drunk that she did not remember taking that video. And that is the video that we saw earlier on with him in the suitcase begging for his life. Now, does her being blackout justify what happened? Absolutely not. And her behavior over the last 4 years has pulled so much focus from the real issue at hand, which is the loss of a man's life. She has acted completely erratically, and she has continued to victimize herself over the last 4 years. Her trial has been continued, which means that it's basically been like paused and delayed multiple times because either she has an issue with her representation, which has been court appointed, or even the lawyer that she has procured for herself, or they have had a conflict of interest or another conflict of time, meaning they had another trial around the same time as her trial would be. She has gone through 8 lawyers at this point. So the judge finally ruled last month, hey, Sarah, you don't get any more court-appointed lawyers. Now, there's been a lot of misleading headlines going around there saying that Sarah's going to be representing herself, but that is not what the ruling states. The ruling actually states that she is not going to get another court-appointed attorney because she's been wasting the court's time. The judge said that her trial is going to begin on October 7th, no matter what, whether she has procured her own personal lawyer, and if she doesn't do that, she will have to represent herself, which apparently Sarah thinks that she is smarter than all 8 of her previous lawyers, so it really shouldn't be a problem for Sarah because she is just so smart. She really talks herself up. And she seems to victimize herself when it comes to every single court-appointed attorney because 4 of them left due to irreconcilable differences, and 2, I believe, said that no one will be able to represent Sarah the way that she wants to be represented because what she wants to tell the court and what her evidence is doesn't matter. And then Sarah gets angry at her attorney and either leaves or even writes a letter to the judge. She has written multiple letters to the judge, and there have been 2 judges. And for the second judge, her first letter to him, she even said, "Oh, thank God, another judge. God is listening to my prayers," or something. It's like, you know what? I think if God is ignoring anyone's prayer, it's probably yours. I don't mean to sound harsh, but yikes, Sarah. Now, when we talk about Sarah's psychology and we see her behavior, it is very, very strange. I think across the board, most people can believe that it's strange, but Sarah seems to have a heightened sense of self. She is a victim. She thinks she's smarter than everybody else. And in my opinion, it seems that she thinks that she's entitled to certain treatment that criminals are just simply not entitled to. I mean, if you're being assigned a defense attorney because you committed a crime as bad as a murder, I think it's probably a safe bet to just listen to what your attorney is telling you, especially when, Sarah, you've basically dug your own grave. You admitted to putting your boyfriend in a suitcase and leaving him in there for, what was it, 11, 12 hours? And then we see a taunting video of it on your phone that you clearly took. And then you didn't even call 911 on your own accord. Someone else had to say, "Hey, girl, you better call 911." When you listen to her talk and you read some of her letters, it's utterly, utterly shocking. It's almost delusional. It's like someone is trying to appear so smart and well educated, but it really makes them look more and more unhinged. So let's look at some of her letters. Now, you can find all of her letters. She's written several over the last 4 years, but I'm going to just focus on the letters that she has written the judge this year. So she wrote this on January 19th, 2024. Honorable Judge Cranick, finally, a new judge. It's strange how the Lord works, as if I was in the process of trying to disqualify Wooten after being my judge 4 years and me still incarcerated with nothing to show other than 7 different attorneys, all caps, not by choice, news clips of me walking in and out of the courtroom, and everything relative to my care permitted to be slathered on the global internet and in which I have not seen myself. I felt he was the ticket holder to my overly hyped, illicitly distributed, misconstrued criminal, quote unquote, criminal case, and great reason I am still here. Again, ongoing 4 years and 7 attorneys later, not by choice. See my letter dated 6/29/23. While still waiting to properly elucidate the court, public, and world, and after whatever the dysfunction was in the attendance part of my most recent PTC status hearing, which I am trying to ensure my automatic attendance futuristically. Please see my draft motion included. I am still trying to have my attorney submit on my behalf. I wanted to bring to your judicial attention the following information so you and the world are aware. It is not I who am ever delaying trial, as Wooten inappropriately accused me of doing in a past hearing, especially now you have mandated a trial date to be had in May, with no further continuances, leaving less than 4 months to put together and complete what should and could have been done already. That was the longest sentence I think I've ever read in my entire life. What happened in the 4 years prior? Please see all my correspondence online. To date, what's interesting too is she is very, very, very obsessed with how the world is seeing her. Does she not know that every single case, unless there is a gag order placed or there's a reason for the trial and the documents to not be public information, it's gonna be public? Like, it's all public. And her behavior is making it more public. The more erratic she becomes, the more interested people become in watching this because it's a charade. It's a circus. It's an absolute mess that she is creating for herself. To date, Winston E. Hobson has been my court-appointed attorney for 133 days and counting. To date, Mr. Hobson has only met with me 1 time for a total of 3 hours. To date, no phone calls have been received from Mr. Hobson, as his phone does not work properly for further, immediate, much-needed communication to be made between client and attorney. To date, I have mailed 5 letters to Mr. Hobson trying to communicate my urgent need to speak with him. And I think that because she acts like every single thing she says is so urgent, it kind of becomes like the boy who cried wolf, I feel like. Like, obviously, an attorney and a client should be able to communicate often, but those are also billable hours. And these attorneys have other cases that they also need to be making time for. They can't just focus on Sarah. And multiple attorneys did say, like, I cannot make myself available to Sarah the way she wants me to be available. I will not be able to handle my caseload. It's going to be impossible for any attorney to work with her. And I feel like allegedly this is totally my speculation because she complains that oftentimes her attorneys are either ignoring her or refuse to speak with her. But I feel like she's writing these long letters to them and she thinks that every thought she has in her head is dire and important, and then the lawyer probably reads the letter or does talk to her and is like, yeah, nothing that she says is pertinent to the case. Like, we can't use that evidence, we can't use her anecdotes, we can't use the spin that she wants to use for this case. And then Sarah, I would assume, gets angry, gets really, really upset because this is how I want you to defend me, or you're ignoring me. And the attorney is probably sitting there like, I'm not ignoring you, but you asked me the same question in all of our correspondence, and I don't have time to reiterate the same thing to you over and over and over and over again. That's my assumption. To date, I sent one letter to the investigator in my case to contact Hobson to contact me and see if he can assist in correcting the phone problem, also to inquire when anyone is coming. To date, I feel I am not being included or heard or cared about in my case again from the continued miscommunication again with Mr. Hobson, and time-consuming, undiscussed entries are being made on my behalf. The continuance I did not know about, the waiver of appearance I did not know about, along with other documents, and I am never sent copies of anything filed, so I know. I keep trying to tell him about with no response, furthering the already massive dysfunction in my 4-year case. Now, her previous attorneys before this guy that she's complaining about have said that she is going to use this as a tactic to delay her trial, to delay, because I would imagine that she's probably in a better place now than she will be going to if she is convicted of this crime. I was hoping in the PTC status hearing on Tuesday, I could at least play catch up in the courtroom for 5 minutes, so many of my attorneys have done prior, including Mr. Hobson, in the one court date I've had for a continuance of a continuance, to express and emphasize the need for him to communicate and schedule a second very overdue meeting. I still have not even heard from him about our missed status hearing. What's the status? To date, 3 out of now 3,192 hours, attorney and client have discussed partial general case information to date. I still have not seen my discovery. Your Honor, when is the next status hearing, please? Especially since we're not at the last PTC status hearing, and especially since I am trying to communicate with my attorney in more than one way to fully maximize and utilize the minute amount of time allotted before trial. My fair, appropriate, lawful trial, question mark. I still am wondering why, though I've had to wait for 4 years for something to finally happen on in my case. Ask Judge Wooten. I wonder also, was I the oldest case on his docket? Either way, I'm still here, waiting patiently and very excited to get this highly anticipated show on the road. I await your overdue and very needed judicial direction, supervision, and intervention. Thank you in advance, Judge Kranick. Welcome. Sincerely, Sarah Boone. It's so weird how she's like, I always find it fascinating when people like think that they're going to get the outcome that they want if they just like insult the people who are there to try to help them get out of their situation. Like, these are court appointed attorneys. They have other clients and they're being paid not as well as like a private attorney would be paid. Not saying that doesn't mean they shouldn't be doing their job to the best of their ability, but I'm saying that like their caseloads are probably higher and they are required by law to pursue justice to the best of their ability. But it sounds like 8 attorneys now don't think you have a viable case, but you don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear that you're most likely going to need to take a plea deal or go to jail for a very, very, very long time, if not your life. And showing the judge this pattern of behavior is only going to make you look worse to the judge. But she thinks that if she can pander to this judge, it's going to help her. Like, oh, he'll be my lifeline. No, he won't, Sarah. Now, on June 5th of this year, she sent yet another letter to the judge. Now, back in February, so after she just wrote the letter that we just read, her 7th lawyer withdraws due to ethical reasons and says that Sarah was being unreasonable. So this was no longer irreconcilable differences. It was, there are ethical issues here at hand. I cannot represent this client because she wants me to do things that I deem unethical. So Sarah was court appointed an 8th lawyer. Her 8th lawyer moves to withdraw from the case for similar reasons. She said that she had spent 20 hours with Sarah, and Sarah had either disagreed with what she wanted to do or would full on up and leave the meeting. So for years, she's like, all my lawyers are ignoring me, Judge. I need you to tell them to meet with me and give me information. And this lawyer, who apparently is really, really good at dealing with difficult clients like Sarah, this lawyer has a reputation of dealing with difficult clients well. And she tried with Sarah and was like, I'm trying to give her time. I'm trying to do my due diligence. I'm trying to do the things that she has asked every other lawyer to do and has sent you letters requesting that you do. I've done all those things, and she just leaves. You can't have both, Sarah. You can't be mad that your lawyer won't meet with you and then leave the meetings you have with your lawyer. You can't do both. Sorry, sweetie. So she writes a 58-page letter to the judge. 58 pages. 58 pages. And don't worry, we're not going to read the entire thing. It's very easy to find online if you want to go read the entire thing. But there is some that I would love to share with you. So she asks a series of questions to the judge, which it's just so odd that she's writing to the judge in the first place, but it gets even more weird in a second. So she's asking all these questions to the judge. Like, why have I already been judged in the court of public opinion? How did that happen? I don't know. Maybe it's the 26 letters you've written to the judge that are all public record. Maybe it's going through 8 lawyers in 4 years. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just the simple fact that you got your boyfriend to get into a suitcase and then taunted him and let him suffocate to death. Maybe that's why, Sarah, because it's a terrible thing to do to another human being. It is absolutely deplorable. That's why. And you admitted to doing it. It's not like this is an allegedly. It's you said you did it, but you didn't mean for him to die. You just wanted him to get a taste of his own medicine, but you didn't want him to actually die. Oopsies. Like, that's not a defense. Why does my attorney and all the world think my case is already over? And then she goes, Your Honor, during our first introduction at my last withdrawal of court appointed attorney number 7, you stated to me your uninvolvement with any of my letters I write. So he told her, I don't read your letters. Don't waste your time writing me letters. I'm not going to read them. So what does she do? She writes a 58-page letter, handwritten. I can't even imagine the hand cramp. I am still going to write my letters, as conduitly they are to the world where all my potential jurors are located, and this is the only way anyone, including yourself, knows the very necessary insight to my continued disadvantages, hindrances, impediments I am still experiencing, on top of the new spurring intentions to write. The race to the pulpit is unfair, and it is important to me that you are aware and understand what transpires when the news cameras are off and we're all in between my status hearings. 2, as so many of the advantageous embezzlers, racketeers, mindless lemmings, and just altogether mean people can use their freedom of speech, not knowing me in any way other than what's being said by all the other mean people and being said incredibly incorrectly, so can I. Excuse me. We're just looking at the things that you said and taking that in and reacting to it because you said you put him in the suitcase. You said you went to bed and left him for dead. This is all stuff that you've said. And you can't say that you're so smart and then get mad that things that are always public record are public record and then get upset that the public is commenting on it. This is why it's such a fascinating, like, case to me. Like, I feel like students of criminology are going to be studying Sarah Boone, because imagine having a client like this. Imagine trying to represent a client like this that is so full of themselves that they cannot hear the truth and they are unable, like, if you don't want a long sentence, you showing the judge that you're this unhinged and you show such a lack of remorse isn't going to help your case. None of this helps you. The jury is going to decide whether you're guilty or innocent, but the judge is going to determine your sentencing. So you're going to harass the judge for months, if not years on end, because you want to prove that people on the internet are being mean to you? You're not the victim here, Sarah. You have been in the past, but when it comes to this situation, you are not the victim and you are not helping your case. As the compelling, annoyed detectives in my case, Copesel had to falsify documents and Lowen wore his gun for me to see. Okay. I am sure you are familiar with, after watching all my plastered, highly misconstrued, over 30 plus million views just on one site, interviews in which they both repeatedly attempt to feed me their incorrect, incomplete, hypothesized opinion by stating to me everyone has their limits at this seemingly endless point of perpetuality of nonsense and lawlessness still growing, and I very much want to advance to the next level after ongoing 5 years now. A genuine concerned limit has been reached. Why am I still not being included in my case? How much more of my case and self is being added hourly, especially after this letter gets loose to the internet, increasing the mass infection and destruction of my hopes to have a fair trial? Anything fair. My side, forensics, and wondering now if my attorney drank the punch like everyone else. Oh, so we're all just, I mean, if you don't know what drank the punch is, it's a reference to Jim Jones when almost 1,000 people drank cyanide to unalive themselves because their cult leader, Jim Jones, basically told them to, basically told them there was no other option. It's the biggest mass unaliving in history. And let me know if you want a deep dive on that. I am very, very familiar with it. And I feel like it's one of those things where I'm like, everybody knows about it. But if you're like, I actually don't, I'd love to hear more about it, then let me know. I'd be more than happy to cover it, because it is it's really heartbreaking. It's really horrible. But if you want to hear about it, please let me know in the comments. But that's what she's referencing, which means she's basically saying that, like, we're essentially all indoctrinated or brainwashed. We've drank the Kool-Aid. We've drank the punch. Like, we're digging our own grave because we won't hear her truth, which it's like, you told us your truth. We all heard the interrogation, and you had already admitted to certain things right when the cops arrived to your apartment, Sarah. So we're just listening to what you said and drawing conclusions from what you said. All aforementioned reasons and so many more for this letter to be written, hoping to deter some of the unfair, one-sided finger pointing of corruption and malpractice being directed at me only by those in the justice system who are trying to deflect the shares and shock from me, fearlessly challenging the status quo. And it must be so because it's my face on the computer at the same time on my boob tube television. Brainwashed, ignorant followers of disbelief, conformity, and greed, trying to unsuccessfully to make my life by character assassination seem worse than theirs. No, two, when anyone points their finger, one, it's impolite, and two, 3-point back at you. How many tried it to see? Put the stone down, as there'll be no casting of anything today, except maybe for the role of my part for all of the pre-conclusion documentaries and crystal ball real life stories of true crime incorrectly formulated from everyone supposedly knowing me and judging who they think I am, what really happened, and is going to futuristically. Remember, 3 point back, soothsaying is not a real job. I'm feeling personally attacked here. To sum it up, in the words of my attorney, after I told her to Google me, she stated, "There's a lot." So obviously, she thinks that, the world is watching her. Her reputation is at stake. Like, no, it was at stake when you made that decision to do what you did. She goes on, also, I want to make it known I walked out on my attorney in our last meeting due to her unwarranted, uninformative, unprofessional, snotty attitude and her untruthful answers to my questions and beyond. The R-worded vicious circle we enter every time we meet is a waste of time, and I'm saying that being in jail with supposed endless amounts of it. How she treats me is extremely prejudiced, hostile, and unconcerned. She is very frustrating. So, yeah, we're getting a big glimpse into the mind of Sarah Boone. So, on June 28th of this year, the judge ordered that Sarah had exhausted her right to a court-appointed attorney. She's more than welcome to hire one herself to represent her personally, or she's going to have to defend herself. And if you go on and you read more of these letters, and even she wrote a final 5-page letter, you will see that she thinks very, very highly of herself. In other letters, she complained about not having a bond. She really wanted to have a bond, but if you're going to do a bond, if you're going to get a bond, it is my understanding that your attorney would have to file for a motion to receive that bond. I'm not a lawyer and I'm not necessarily educated enough to understand certain legal principles/procedures. So if you are, please let me know. Maybe you can clarify that for us. But I don't know, you guys. What do you think? I feel like it could be really entertaining to see her try to represent herself, but it also has been a severe waste of time and money that has gone into these ongoing continuances. And it seems that Sarah doesn't understand that it's her behavior, her actions that are contributing to the delay. Yes, we must be fair, right? If we want to look at this from we want to try to look at this from an unbiased point of view, right? 4 of her court appointed attorneys did withdraw for reasons that were not Sarah's fault, right? So that's half. So she's gone through, I don't want to say she's only gone through 4 attorneys, but it does seem like she has intentionally tried to delay her case, or she is refusing to listen to the guidance of her attorneys, and that it's causing too much contention. And it sounds like she is asking or demanding her attorneys to do things that are unethical, that would possibly lead the attorney to perjure themselves. The thing is, people like Sarah, in my opinion, don't seem to understand that sometimes other people know more than them. Yes, Sarah thinks she knows about this situation, this case, because it's directly involving her. She did it, allegedly. So she thinks she knows the best defense. But when it comes to the law, other people know better than her. And until she's able to accept that, she's going to be in this position. And in my opinion, I'll share it here at the end. I believe that she is guilty. I believe that she and him had a fun night, got drunk. I don't think she intentionally went into this game of hide and seek to try to kill him, but I do believe that she had a lot of malice, a lot of frustration, a lot of almost like this feeling of revenge, since something clicked on in her brain because she'd been drinking. She was going to give to him what she'd been getting from him. And she didn't care in that moment whether he lived or died. She was negligent. She did not care. She could have taken action to get him out of the suitcase. Now, I suppose you could argue, like I said earlier, she didn't let him out of the suitcase because she was worried what he would do to her if she did let him out of the suitcase. But I think we can all agree that after you listen to that video, she sounds very malicious. She sounds very intentional. It sounds like she literally does not care if he lives or dies. And the fact that he did pass away because of positional asphyxiation, I think only proves that she was negligent and she literally didn't care if he lived or died. And now she's backtracking and she thinks she's so much smarter than everybody else. I am not a therapist and I cannot diagnose her, but I definitely think there's something else going on with her. I don't think her reaction or her behavior is by any means normal, but I'm really curious what you guys think. Some people find this situation incredibly complicated because of the DV aspect of this, and it's really difficult to always understand victims and survivors of DV situations. And I always want to be an advocate for victims and survivors of DV. But in this case, things escalated to such a horrific point that it sounds like they were both toxic and terrible and abusive to each other. And I don't know if we'll ever know if he was always the main aggressor because he ended up dead and she killed him due to her own admission, whether it was intentional or not. But I don't think if you make as big of a mistake as this, you behave the way Sarah behaved and is behaving. If this happened to me and it was a drunken mistake, I would want to die. I would be devastated that something I did led to the death of another person. I just don't think it's normal to behave the way she's behaving. So that tells me that there might have been a small part of her that wished he was dead. That, or she just didn't care enough to prevent him from dying. I don't think she also remembers that she took that video. I think that she was blackout drunk, took that video, went to bed, and had complete disregard for human life. And I wholeheartedly believe that she will be found guilty of second-degree murder unless she comes to some kind of plea deal. So what do you guys think? Do you want me to follow this case? Do you want to watch the trial live? I'm considering that because I feel like especially if she represents herself, it is going to be one heck of a ride. Once again, I want to highlight the victim in this case because there's not a lot of people talking about him and his family, and I really, really hope that this family sees justice, and I really hope that they're taking care of themselves because when people talk about cases like this and it's so sensationalized and the culprit's behavior is so odd and that's what we're talking about. I mean, that was the main focus of this video. It diminishes the pain that the family of the victim is experiencing, and I never want to have a part in diminishing that pain. And I really, really hope that you see justice and that you have a support system around you and that you can take care of yourself because I can't even imagine having a loved one pass away and the person who did it be behaving like this, and that's all anyone can talk about. I would just want it all to stop. But on the other hand, I do believe it's important to talk about these situations because it can look different to different people and it can take many, many different forms. And I don't know what could have been done to avoid this situation, but maybe after all is said and done, we'll be able to understand these kinds of dynamics more. So maybe it doesn't happen to the next person. But I'm eager to hear all of your thoughts. Please send positive energy to the Torres family. It's just so sad. And even to Sarah's son. I mean, he cannot be in a good mental state right now. And please just take care of yourselves, guys. There are resources for you if you do find yourself in a DV situation. I'll leave that information down in the pinned comment below. And please make sure to check out our teacher wish list for today. Thank you guys all so much for your support on this video and all of my videos. I have a lot of exciting content coming to you, so please remember to subscribe if you haven't already. And with all of that being said, stay safe out there. Ask questions and always stay skeptical. Until next time, bye.